Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. This is Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 episode number 11 reaction. Right, so the previous episode we got to see Megumi versus that other guy. I don't know his name. I've probably forgotten. But like he had a few of the other people with him, a few of the other sorcerers, and Megumi was had to like fight all of them. In the middle, we did get one ally, Takaba, I think that was his name, or was it something like that. Anyways, he did help us quite a bit by taking like out one of the others, not taking out, but he's I think he's still currently fighting with him. Either way, and yeah, now Megumi is fighting that receipt guy, like the guy who has like receipts all over his body and everything, and he has unleashed his domain expansion, even because it's not complete. He went into like a gymnasium so that it's like enclosed, so that it's easier for him to use his domain expansion, and that's what happened. Right, let's see how this goes. Yeah, let's get started. So I will be putting the timer over here, sync it to the original video and watch it alongside my reaction. And yeah, let us get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Right, here we go. Yeah, the odd gymnasium is helping him. Wicker basket. Ability to neutralize a domain. Oh. 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 Left out. Wicker basket simple domain capable of neutralizing the curse. I cannot concentrate. Why do they do this? Why are they explaining when we're having a... I need to go back here. Like, I couldn't even concentrate. Damn. Oh! Extend his 10 shadows technique. Oh. Oh, Regista, that's his name. His clones and Shikami had physical form. That's why. Yeah. Right. Wow, what the hell is going on? Oh no. Reinforce my footing with. Bottom of this domain is your shadow, yeah. Yeah, that's why being able to store and remove item. Space for yourself. With the weight of things. Yeah, okay. And that's why the cars, it's heavy, right? And he has to bear the weight now, bruh. Right. Oh. Flattened. Bruh. Right. Okay, they need to stop doing this. Like when they're like showing like these intense like battles and everything, they're explaining at the same time. I cannot like my brain is not that advanced. I cannot focus on two things at the same time because like it's not just normal subtitles. They're actually explaining stuff, so I have to properly read it. And then at the same time, I'm like, oh, something is going on. I'm missing out in the battle. So like I'll go back. I'll go back at the end and read that part properly. I couldn't concentrate at all at that part. Hmm. Wait. Damn. Lowering his postures. Ah, 3 to 6 tons. I see. Ah. Hmm. Yeah, his receipts are wet from inside. So it's gonna go in deliberately. I think in just like the yeah. Yeah, he's like, what is it inside? Should I even take the risk of going there? Yeah. Contractual recreation. Oh no. Wait, what happened? Did his bone break or something? He fell into his shadow? Oh, oh damn. crazy. That is a crazy sensation. Mm. Oh boy. What the hell? Oh, okay, he's expelling them. Oh no, he's still. Oh, right. Oh god, he's gonna use his. Yeah, house? Right. Um. Wait, what? This is water. Oh, it's from the weight of the. Well, I don't think you have that chance anymore. Wait, what happened? How? What's going on? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say he was literally inside water. Yeah, but I can beat you up. Can he not just go and just beat you up like physically? I feel like that's a better way in this situation. Or if he has like some weapon or something. What a slow walk. Yeah, but he's Reggie's also pretty like physically strong as well, so yeah, okay, there you go. I was like, yeah, this is the only way. Wait, what the hell happened? What? Wait, did he use some weapon? Oh, damn! Took out his whole chunk of whole chunk of his head and shoulder, bro. Convince me you can. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Shut in. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I don't think Tengen is. Oh my god. Oh, how much did he gather? 41. It would be wasted otherwise. Like only 5 points, I think. Right. Yeah, because he was always saying that Kenjaku is planning something. Bruh. Oh, because of his death. Right. What the hell? Yeah, he's having tea while this guy is battling him? Or coffee, whatever it is. What the hell is he like? Does he have multiple? Like, does he have clones or something? His face. Yeah. Right. Oh boy. Comedian. What if he's confused? Oh, what? Oh. So whatever he thinks is funny, that becomes reality? Okay. The hell is going on with her now? Oh Lord, stop. What is this shoujo manga? Yeah? Jesus. What is that? Yeah. Oh Lord. Yeah, it's like, alright, so what even was her power? It was like she used her hair, right? Oh, what the feather? Is this supposed to be? Oh yeah, angel, right? I think that's what they called her. Like one of our missions was to find Angel, right? Outstripping those of. Wait, what? Indian? Orbit of those Shigami determines. What the hell, Joe? Joe? Okay. Is canon with the greatest. Oh, Fujiwara clan. What's that? A cockroach? What is that? Yeah. What? All right, man. Special grade. Four-way stalemate. Oh, this the Indian dude. Oh damn. Special grade sorcerer. Okay. I was wondering when like the new characters will be introduced because we were seeing a few new characters in the opening who we didn't really see up until now, and here we go. There they are. I wasn't expecting a cockroach though. Oh god. Hmm. Okay, there you go. That was today's episode. So today we had Megumi fighting against Reggie, and the whole battle we saw, and we saw how Reggie got defeated. And before dying, he transferred all his points to him because obviously otherwise the points will be just wasted. He'll only get 5 points for his death. So yeah, that's also like that's very interesting because I guess that by adding this new rule, they like unlocked like a new like what can I say, like a new way to get points. That is, you can like literally extort people out of points. Like like those extortions that happen in like in real life, like people get bullied and everything, and they're like gets ganged up by people, and they're like, oh, give me all your money, that kind of thing. So they're just gonna take the people, someone hostage, and be like, oh, like give me all your points or something like that. Like there's like a whole new branch, a whole new way to get points now, like literally. um yeah, so and also like like characters who are going to die at the end, they can try and like transfer their points to someone else, and they can do that now, so that's another thing. So a lot of the points will not be wasted like this, because suppose someone has like killed a lot of sorcerers and has like 100 points or something. If they die, like that just gets transferred into what 5 points because of that. Because of the only because of that death, that only point will count. So just before that, they can just transfer it to someone else. And if this was before the new rule was added, the whole point would have been wasted. You know. So yeah. Either way, so how much points do Megumi have now? 46, right? 41 he got from Reggie, and then 5 from Reggie's death. 46, I'm guessing. Did he have points before that? Oh, yeah. He had points before that. That other dude he killed. So it's not 46. It's 61. I'm assuming. Was there any other? No, that was the only kill that he killed, right? That other dude. Okay. Either way, um, yeah. So that's what happened today. Now the whole battle was basically, like obviously in Megumi's domain expansion, and oh, I need to read this part. I'll have to go back and read this part. Like I said, them showing like a really good fight sequence and at the same time explaining something is just, I don't know, it's just something so at least with my brain I cannot concentrate on both things. Like I need to properly concentrate on one thing. Like I cannot do it like that. Like, and if I'm trying to concentrate on the subtitles and trying to understand what they're saying, and the fighting is distracting me, I'm like, oh, I'm missing out. So that's why I'm not able to properly concentrate. So it's like it's like a half-hearted way of trying to understand, so I'm not understanding, and I'm not even able to concentrate on the battle, so it just defeats the whole purpose of that section. I couldn't concentrate on any of it because of both the things happening at the same time. If it was just normal like conversation, then that's fine, but they're actually trying to explain something. And like a lot of the things in Jujutsu Kaisen, since I watched it quite a while ago and I haven't read the manga, um, I need to properly sit down and understand as to what they're saying, and to make sense. So this part was completely just. Alright, so let's see. So Reggie uses esoteric technique, hollow wicker basket. So apparently this counters the like a guaranteed hit thing. Here we go. Is the origin of a new shadow style's simple domain. Possesses the ability to neutralize a domain, and counter is guaranteed hit factor. There you go. But then he gets hit from the underside because the shadow was underneath him, and that part wasn't covered, I guess. Okay, the domain amplification used by Jogo and Hanami in Shibuya utilized a domain capable of harboring a guaranteed hit, guaranteed kill technique. Okay. And intentionally left out their curse techniques to leave space for Gojo's curse technique to flow into. Right, yeah. Neutralizing his limitless. However, Hollow Wicker Basket and Simple Domain aren't capable of neutralizing the cursed technique. They work by neutralizing a barrier imbued with a curse technique. Neutralizing a barrier imbued with a curse technique to nullify the imbued technique's guaranteed hit effect. Wait, what? Okay, aren't capable of neutralizing curse technique. They work by neutralizing a barrier imbued with a curse technique. Neutralizing a barrier imbued with a curse technique to nullify the imbued technique's guaranteed hit effect. Right, okay. I kind of understand, but still a little bit unclear. However, Fushigoro's domain is incomplete. There you go. Okay. By transposing his domain into the space of the gymnasium, he managed to force it to close, but it's not imbued with a guaranteed hit technique. Yeah, so that makes sense. Okay, so then Reggie says that, okay, Chimera Shadow Garden currently just extends his 10 Shadows technique and draws out 110% of its latent potential. So it doesn't have that guaranteed hit, like, you know. That very imperfection is what caught Reggie Star off guard. Both his clones and Shikigami had physical forms before striking me, yeah. That means this barrier isn't imbued with a guaranteed hit technique. Domain's buff to his technique's abilities is no joke though. Even worse to deal with. Yeah. So he misjudged, or not misjudged, but misinterpreted the whole like situation, like the whole domain, and he basically used a counter to something that wasn't even required, and that's why he got caught off guard. Like he was like, oh, so this is what I need to do to counter the guaranteed hit technique, and then he's like, wait, what's going on? Why is it not working? Because that wasn't even a thing from the very beginning. So yeah, that's why, and that's why he got caught off guard. And like, and once he got caught off guard, he just got like one by one, he just got just beaten up by Megumi and his Shikigamis. But anyways, like here he kind of like deduces that you need to use the weight because like a Megumi like doesn't have much weapons, but then why does he not have that much weapons? If it's like a shadow, like like thing where he can just take out stuff, why does he not put stuff in there? It's either because he cannot, or there's like some sort of weight limit that he has to carry, like how in video games you see like a character just takes out his inventory and there's like literally like a bazooka, a freaking machine gun, like a like a heavy machine gun and everything in your inventory, while they're just like they literally have nothing on their hand or anything. It's not like that. All these things inside the inventory, they have a weight, and these weight will like completely like tire, like Megumi will have to carry that weight. So if you're like putting like a whole ass like like a heavy machine gun inside of your inventory, I don't know how much a heavy machine gun like weighs, but he has to carry that. Even though his hands are empty, that weight is still he has to bear it. So that's why he just put in 3 cars inside of it, which is completely like pushing him down. And like as the narrator explained, like because there's so much gravity of like for the weight, a normal person would have died here because all their like blood would have gone to their legs, and like their head would just like with lack of blood they're just going to die like that. And that is why Megumi used his curse technique, and he was kind of crouching like this, putting his head towards the lower, like like in a lower plane, so that the blood like it's not that he's not that much affected by the whole thing. He was literally putting his head down like this, like completely down, so that the blood like yeah, so they kind of explained that how he was able to survive that, and obviously he was using his curse technique, so right. But then Megumi was also like, oh, two can play the game. And yeah, he because the whole domain, like like the shadow was like completely encompassing the gymnasium. Top part was also his shadow, and he dropped his elephant on him, and so now he's like, let's see who wins, like who wins this battle of like what's that word, like who can survive this up until the very end. And Reggie was going to use his the contractual, like the thing that he brought out later, the house. He was going to use that, but he was a little bit late. That's why he got dragged down into the water. um right. But then he used the car to bring himself up, because he didn't dispel the car. The car was still there, so he can still issue orders to it. And now he brought down the house. Okay. But then he gets dragged down into the swimming pool. He gets up and he's like, all my receipts are just wet. Megumin's like, Megumin cannot use any of his shikigamis, or at least that's what he kind of like implied. So they're like, all right, let's just fist fight, and they just start fist fighting. In the end, Megumi uses his dogs or wolves or whatever they are to take him out. Right, and that's how Megumi won. A whole chunk of his face was just gone, and head was just gone. Either way, that was the whole battle, So there you go. In the end, Reggie was like, so here's the thing. Megumi thought that because he brought Tengen's, Megumi thought that Tengen and Kenjaku are planning something, both of them, and Tengen might be lying to us. But then when he brought up Tengen in front of Reggie, the way Reggie talked about Tengen, he was like, okay, so false alarm, maybe not. Right. So I'm assuming Reggie knew Tengen personally, because he was like, oh, that shut in, like something like that he said. Right. And then obviously he transferred all his points to Megumi, and he was opposing like Kenjaku. So here we go. Megumi's like, why did you transfer the points to you? What are you plotting? It's an awful thing to say. It's my good deed before I die. Just a spectator. I was never close friends with Kenjaku, which was pretty obvious from the way he spoke about him and from the very beginning. I think doing this will make things more interesting. My intuition. Yeah. So there you go. So he's like, yeah, that's right. It's all yours. Right. And he died over there. That was the battle. Megumi versus Reggie Star. The battle was pretty interesting, as always. Like he was using his receipts left, right, and center, bringing out stuff, attacking Megumi in very unconventional ways. Like I talked about this in the previous episode. The versatile, the way you can be versatile using these receipts are very interesting, because you can literally bring out almost anything, and the way you can bring them out are like very interestingly, because as you can see in today's episode, he was like chugging the the receipts here and there and just making like things pop out of there. So it's a very versatile fighting technique. You can use the receipts to bring out almost anything and use them in very different ways. Right. Either way, that was that, and that was the end of the battle. Now let's talk about a few other things in today's episode. First and foremost, Takaba, right? That was his name? So he apparently, his power is basically whatever he thinks is comedy, that comes true. Is that what it is? Just a minute, let me just read this part. Okay, where's that section where they explain? Okay, here it is. Takaba's curse technique, comedian, makes whatever he's convinced will be funny a reality. Okay, so whatever he's convinced will be funny, it becomes a reality. Technique capable of opposing even Satoru Gojo. Like, also, he's someone who believes that his jokes and gags are funny. So that makes it a deadly combination. You know, like because his technique in itself brings out anything that he thinks is funny into reality, and he thinks he's funny. Like if he was someone who had no faith in himself and who didn't think he was funny at all, who thought that, oh, all my jokes suck ass, you know, this technique would have been useless for him. Because if he doesn't even gets convinced himself that it's funny, it's not going to come into reality at all. But he's not that person. That's why it's a deadly combination. He thinks he thinks he's genuinely funny, and all the jokes and gags that he's doing is funny, and that's why it becomes reality. Also, he has no clue that this is a technique that he has. You know, he's oblivious to it, which I think makes it even more authentic for him. Because I don't know, if you knew that this is like part of your technique, I feel like you probably would question yourself more that, oh, do I consider this thing funny, which would obviously kind of make the technique more, I don't know, like difficult to use. Because as soon as it gets into your head that, oh, this is my technique, whatever I will find funny will come into reality. But as soon as that comes into your head, when you're going to use your technique, you're always going to think, do I consider this thing funny? And as soon as you question yourself that, it stops becoming funny. And then so I don't know, I feel like the obliviousness makes it even more potent for him, like this technique, because he himself doesn't know like what's going on, and he genuinely thinks it's funny, so it comes into reality, and the cycle continues. you know right. And I guess it makes sense, because you can see, like now that I'm thinking about, in the previous episode there were a lot of things that happened with, for example, he was showing like extreme, he still is showing extreme like defensive capabilities and regenerative capabilities. Why? Because that is the basis or the foundation of slapstick comedy, right? Like, like what is slapstick comedy? It is basically a type of comedy where, you just get hit. Like you've seen, like in a lot of animes, I've seen a lot of people saying like, why, like what, like why do like animes do this, where there's like one character who just beats up the other character and people consider that so funny. That is slapstick comedy, where at an expense of someone, as far as I know, like by like physical violence or something like that, like is considered funny. And in those type of situations, the person who's getting beaten up, like they just get beaten up left, right, center, and then literally in the next scene you see that they're just fine completely. So maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe that is what is making, because that is a comedy in itself, and anything that he considers comedy is becomes reality. Maybe that's why whenever he's getting hit or injured, he just regenerates and he's completely fine with it, because that's the basis of slapstick comedy, right? Is that why? It might be, you know because that's a part of comedy. Like I'm sure you've seen like a lot of like cartoons and everything, where like like what, like Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes show and all that, where like characters literally get like just blown up in their face, and literally in the next scene that they're fine, completely fine. That type of thing. you know so right, I think that's why he was completely fine with it. Like he was getting injured, but he was completely fine. Then like a lot of other things, for example, his very fast movement, then him doing the whole like kancho, like like the thing in the previous episode, all those things, and like his super strength and everything, he probably considered that, oh, if I do it like this, it'll be kind of funny, and that's why he was able to do it, because anything he considers funny becomes reality. So his fast movement and everything, all of those things. In today's episode, he was just having tea or coffee, and then whole place blows up, and then suddenly he's like in a like a like a school, like like a school uniform, like a delinquent uniform, like coming out of the window, because he probably considered that to be funny, and that became reality. And then when he comes down and starts running towards him, he just transferred back into his normal self. Why covered in lotion? And it's like, it could be sauce. So yeah, he probably considered that funny. Like, oh, if I come out like covered with sauce, that'd be kind of funny. Yeah, and then they're like, oh, Reggie has died, and he's like, ah, whatever, I don't care, and he just left. And Takawa's like, oh, can you please give me the points? And he's like, shut up, go away. And yeah, I guess that's why they said it's a technique capable of opposing even Satoru Gojo. Yet Takaba doesn't even know anything about his own technique. Right. Anyways, yeah, so that's his power. Interesting power. Okay, and then we get to see Remy here, who's like, oh, like Remy doesn't need to do anything. Remy's just going to. What was she saying? Wait a minute. And this whole like speaking in third person, like trying to make yourself cutesy and all. Good lord. I've heard that all men are wolves, but it's always those wolves who take care of the confusing stuff. Oh my god. Yo. And then they like do the slow motion run, and I'm like, what is this? If those wolves will handle everything, then I don't need to think about anything. Right. Because I'm so cute. Yeah, and then Megumi comes in and he's like, ah, falls down into the ground. Megumi's like, yeah, like can't be bothered. Not can't be bothered, but his sister's words kind of came into his head, and he's like, God damn it, sister, and he just left. His conscience, couldn't kind of, yeah, right. And then he falls down. He's like blood loss or something, I'm guessing. And then Angel comes in. That was her name, right? Angel? I don't know if that was her name. But this was one of the characters that we were assigned to find. And then we got to see quite a few new characters. Now let's focus here. Right, so we saw 4 characters, one of them who died immediately by Yuta. So here we have the first character, Dhruv Lakdawala. 91 points. So obviously he's Indian, I guess. He's like a second incarnation. He's an old man who single-handedly conquered the archipelago during the civil war of Ma. Okay, so what was his power? He possesses 2 autonomous Shikigami, and the orbit of those Shikigami determines his domain. Oh! Oh, damn. Okay. Those 2, right? Those. And then we have freaking Josuke. Ryu Ishigori. Why do all these characters who have like a pompadour or like whatever, like why are all their names Ryu? Like most of them, you see, like Ryu Ishigori, current point 77. Okay, so he's the cannon with the greatest burst energy output among the players. Alright, good to know. And then we have Takako Udo, current point 70. This girl here, she was originally the captain of the Sun, Moon, and Star Squad. What's going on? Is she naked? Right. A squad of assassins serving directly under the Fujiwara clan. That's crazy. She possesses a technique that allows her to manipulate the sky. Oh yeah, she's floating in the sky. That is interesting. It's like she's swimming inside the sky, right? Yeah. Right. So I guess like she can like dive inside the sky, which sounds weird, but I guess that's probably what because if she's swimming inside the sky, like you can see she's literally like floating inside the sky. That probably means she probably can go inside of the sky, which again makes no sense. But in this context, I'm guessing it probably makes sense. Like she can dive inside the sky and just disappear, maybe, and then just come out like what, like you come out of the water or something like that. That's a very interesting technique. Imagine swimming in the sky. um, right, and then we have the cockroach, Kurodoshi. Current points 54. Cockroach cursed spirit that Kenjaku freed from the control of cursed spirit manipulation. Ranks as a special grade, already registered. Is lying dormant until certain conditions are met. I do wonder what those conditions are. Okay, there's no alliance, but the complex compatibility and opposing strength. Load them into 4-way stalemate. And then we see Yuta literally taking out the dude, the Indian guy. Dhruv, right? Yeah. Okay. And that is today's episode. We'll probably get to see all these new characters in the next episode, maybe a little bit. Probably the Angel Girl as well. Right. And yeah, let's see. So there you go. That was it. That was my reaction to episode number 11 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 3. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.